students. In the previous lecture, we have studied about the IoT architecture. Different types of network topologies we have studied, which are required in the IoT architecture. In the previous chapter, we have studied the basic information about the IoT. What is like introduction to IoT, how evolution of IoT took place. After that, seven-layer architecture we have seen. After that, different types of cloud, role of cloud in the IoT. After that, networking topologies, low power local area network, LP LAN, as well as we have seen LP WAN, LoRa, comparison of LoRa, Sigfox, NB IoT, and CAT-M. So in this lecture, what we are going to study, actually we are starting the fourth chapter, that is IoT application, and whatever information we have studied related to the IoT till now, we are using that information in the IoT applications. What kind of actual applications we can form with the help of IoT? Okay, so this is your last unit, unit 4, IoT applications. Okay, so without wasting time, we'll start with the chapter application domain. The first thing is that today we have IoT applications in wearable smartphones, wearables, smart home applications, healthcare, smart cities, agriculture, industrial automation. So there are like almost in every sector we can use this IoT, right? So details of each maybe as, if you're talking about smart cities, where parking, lighting, water and waste management, fire smoke detection, building citizens, safety vehicles, safety services, physical city assets monitoring, etc. All these things are integrated through the IoT. Okay, so parking is like simplest thing that can be also integrated with the help of IoT to the other things. Correct. If you're talking about the rural communities and smart residential communities are linked by IoT. Smart tourist destinations are scheduled and open through the IoT. Other IoT applications are in smart port, smart airport, smart railway stations. There are like we can just name hundreds of different applications where we can use IoT. Okay, smart transportation where cooperative intelligent transport system, automotive emergency response system are implemented with the help of IoT. Okay, so generally what I'm trying to tell is in the world there is like in almost every sector we can use the IoT. Simple. Okay, the applications, different names or applications are given listed here. All right, next up, in transportation, IoT has a role in the transportation safety service, unmanned aircraft system, as well as autonomous driving. So we have like heard about that Tesla car which is recently launched in India. In that Tesla car we have syncing of IoT, how we will discuss in the case study. Smart retail network with the help of IoT can develop. So we can just develop a smart retail network with the help of IoT. In agriculture, smart farming, agricultural planning, cultivation, livestock like poultry, etc. are linked and monitored with the help of IoT. So if you want to irrigate your land, for that you don't need to be present over there. With the help of IoT, by sitting at a remote location, you can give water, or you can just provide water to the your field, right? How? With the help of IoT only. As an industrial application, smart manufacturing with the framework in the context of industrial IoT is applied. So I'll tell you one thing, what is the difference between embedded systems and IoT? In case of embedded system, we can automate everything, right? We can automate each and everything. But in case of IoT, along with making everything automatic, we can observe things whether it is working as per our application or not. So this is what is the difference between uh, embedded systems as well as your IoT, right? So we will see the first, what are the challenges which are faced by the IoT. Okay, we are, if we're talking about the IoT, then we have to face different like multiple of challenges. Which are those challenges and how we can deal with those challenges? As the improvement in the electronics field and internet connectivity, there is a large scope of business in IoT application. If you want to do something related to the IoT, then you will have a large scope. With business in IoT application, there are certain challenges in the developing any system or product with the help of IoT. So if you are dealing, if you're using any product which uses IoT, then you have to face some set of challenges. development, production, implementation, and successful servicing maintenance facilities, competition for same parallel products in the market are business kind of challenges we can just face while dealing with the IoT applications. Okay, so development is what if there are two persons, first person made a IoT board or whatever the hardware that is of like very huge. The second person will do what? He will develop his board like very small, right? So this is the development or the components which are used while developing that board, production, implementation, and successful servicing maintenance. Once you install the system, you need a maintenance after a period of time, right? If you're not providing the maintenance, your system may stop working after few days, or the service system may get slow. Okay, so the maintenance is also very important parameter. Now, all these are the aspects which are in the point of view business, right? In the point view of IoT itself, there are challenges like power or energy. If you are implementing a system, how much power that system is going to consume, efficient resource management, things to cloud communication. If you're like not having proper connectivity, then you cannot sync all the things to the cloud. Internet availability, resource miniaturization, big data analytics, schematic technology, backup information, virtualization, privacy, security, heterogeneity, dynamics, scalability, etc. So you have a multiple of challenges which you can face while dealing with the IoT. Next up, the next one, instead of saying next up, the first challenge which is faced by the IoT is power consumption. If you're installing, if you're like installing any device in your home or maybe agriculture, maybe office, maybe anywhere, in that case, how much is power consumed by that IoT application, right? In IoT applications, continuous power is required, right? If you're dealing with the application, then you have to monitor that application for continuous period of time, and to monitor the thing or to monitor a location for continuous period of time, you have to turn on your device for almost all the time. And if you are turning on your device for the continuous period of time, then you will need a large power. use a battery power Use of battery power is not economical and also requires a maintenance and has negative impact on the environment. So if we use a battery, okay, stored power to turn on our device, then in that case it is not economical. First of all, the cost of your entire circuit will increases. Second thing, it requires maintenance. If you have a battery operated system, you have to maintain that. Once your battery discharge, you have to refill the battery, or you have to change the battery. So that maintenance is required, and along with that, that is not user like environment friendly. It is having a negative feedback or negative impact on the environment. So you cannot go for a battery operated systems in the IoT. The power consumption through the IoT is optimized for low consumption of power, and it is big challenge for expansion of capabilities of the system. So this is like quite big challenge, power consumption. For IoT system, access to the continuous power from the power grid is not always possible. So if you're like asking power supply from the power grid, then it is not possible for all the time. There may be a power failure due to the nature of the development. So we know we have like electricity problem. Sometimes for a short period of time only, the electricity may get disturbed. So in that case, what is happening with your device? Also, the cost of connecting device to a grid, accessing constant power is recurring challenge to many IoT applications. So if you're like seeking electricity from the from the grid, then the cost of connecting your device to the grid is also very high. That is why entire system cost of your entire system increases, right? The next point is the power consumption issue is handled with the energy harvesting technique. Okay, so you can just deal with this issue with energy harvesting technique. There are variety of techniques for energy harvesting. Now, what is energy harvesting and what are the techniques, which type of techniques we have, we'll study. It is also possible to combine several methods of energy reduction and harvesting to the increase IoT device power efficiency. So what they are saying here, it is also possible to combine several methods of energy reduction. So if you are like able to reduce the energy consumption in IoT, you may go for that, right? So, in this, what you can say, the energy harvesting, the basic meaning of energy harvesting is what? It is a process, like a general process by which energy, like derived from the external source. If we are having any external source, energy can be derived from that external source, captured and stored for the small and wireless autonomous devices. Simple as that. Energy harvesting, like rainwater harvesting, we have energy harvesting. Okay, so there are used these are used for the piezoelectric materials to capture the power from the mechanical stress. So whatever is the mechanical stress, from that mechanical stress we can just derive or capture the power, such as sweeping a key card over a key reader. Thermoelectric materials, which rely on the temperature differential to create a electrical potential or solar energy or wind energy. Okay, so basically the thing is that we can just have this energy harvesting. And how to harvest energy? With the help of these applications, inserting or swiping a key card on a key reader, or thermoelectric materials which rely on the temperature difference to create a electrical potential, or we can just have a solar energy or wind energy. Simple. Next up, we have IoT devices design are developing protocols that conserves power. So we just have IoT devices which are designed for the low power consumption only. Okay, now there are three different types or three different ways of low power consumption techniques which are used in IoT. The first thing is use of power saving mode. In mobile, in laptops, we must have like come across this power saving mode. After that, second one is your employing extend disconnect the discontinuous reception, EDRX, and then last one is your wake up signal. Now I'll tell you what are these three. In saving mode, most cellular technology turn off their cellular module when they do not need to connect to the cellular network. So basically, whenever it is not required, your device will get disconnected from the cellular network. But reconnecting to the network when it requires the power. So basically, whenever we are not using our cell phones, it is not connected to the cellular network. But whenever, as soon as we receive or we get call, or we want to make a call, in that case our mobile phone get connected to the cellular network. That is called as your use of power saving mode, PSM mode. Okay, the next up we have a employee extended discontinuous reception. So in this we have power, like we can just save the power by periodically shutting off the cellular reception module of a device to halt communication. Whatever your device, whatever the total time period of your device, you can just shut off your device for the reception module of a device to halt communication. This means data may be delayed in getting to its destination, but it may not be there will be no problem of any application. Okay, and the last technique is about your wake up signal. Now, what is wake up signal? In case of IoT, in case of IoT devices, it is allowed to remain asleep as not and not to be periodically checked for incoming signal. So basically, what is happening? Your device will go in the sleep mode, and as soon as it receives the signal, it will automatically turn on itself. So this is what is your wake up signal. Okay, to turn on the device, you have to send a wake up signal first, and once the device sends you acknowledgement, then you can just send your original data. While the device is in sleeping mode, it must receive a wake up message before turning back on again. So basically, what is this like? Whenever the device is in sleep mode, it should accept the wake up call, right? And by accepting a wake up call, it should turn on itself. This method is specially useful for the devices that do not need a communication for a long period of time. So for example, in Zigbee we have seen, if you want to monitor the temperature of a what you can say, a room in an entire day, what we are going to do, we are going to take the temperature at three different times: morning 9, after that afternoon 3, and evening 6. So basically, apart from these timings, your device or your Zigbee module will go into the sleep mode, and whenever there is a time of capturing the temperature, at that period of time only your device will turn on, and again it will go to the sleep mode, right? So these are the challenges related to the power consumption by the IoT devices. Second challenge is about physical security, right? If you're installing any hardware related to the IoT, then what is the physical security of your device? So hardware, software, and the connectivity, these are the three basic things which we required in IoT, right? Hardware, software, that is embedded thing, and the connectivity to the internet, or you can just call it as connectivity to the cloud. Okay, so these are the very basic things or basic needs we have in IoT. Without security, any connected object can be hacked. Okay, so if you're not having any kind of security, then your data may get hacked. Once hacker gains the control, they can take control over the object's functionality and steal the user's digital data. So basically, once the control is in the hand of hacker, he can just do whatever he want. You cannot do anything when your system gets hacked. This is distributed and fragmented nature of IoT applications makes larger attack surface on the physical surface and physical access to the devices. So basically there are, like, we can just say, two types of attack: larger attack on the surface and physical access to the device. So basically, attack on the surface area of your device and just steal the information on the device. These two factors, distributed and fragmented nature, and make a physical security to a very viable and create effective risk in the system. So basically what is going to happen if your data get hacked? Entire system in the if your data, then in that case your data will be in the risk. Okay, and the entire system is having the problem, and that is why you will not be able to do anything with your system. Okay, because the control is in the hacker's hand. Next up, we have physical security. It is also known as silicon or hardware security. Involves securing the silicon element of your system. So basically, the chip you are using in the IoT, that is the most important portion, and we have to secure that portion first. As we know, the software attack can be carried out remotely, but physical attack required close proximity to the system. So if there is an attack on your software, then you can just resolve that issue by the remote connection only. You don't need to visit the application, or you don't need to visit the hardware. But in case of, if the attack is physical, then in that case you have to visit the location, you have to check the device, and then you can just repair it, right? Next point we have is the durability. What is durability? It is defined as the ability of a material to remain serviceable in the surrounding environment during the useful life without damage or unexpected maintenance. So whatever is the device you are installing, the material which is used for the making of device, that should be serviceable. Your device should be serviceable. It should give you the service in the surrounding environment, what, no matter it, like, whether it is raining or it is like cold, or it is like what you can say, the very hot temperature. In the all type of surrounding environment, your device should be able to give the proper service during the useful life without any damage or without any unexpected maintenance. So it should not give you the unexpected maintenance, as well as there should not be any kind of damage, and it should be able to give you the expected output without any trouble. So this is what you can just call it as a durability, right? There are different types of testing for a durability of a system, like temperature, tensile correction, vibration, aging, fatigue testing, etc. So there are multiple parameter we can check for the durability. As far as IoT system is concerned, all elements in it, like connected devices, central control hardware, control panel, data cloud, user interface, network interconnection, system security, and data analytics, should have stability of working for the prolonged time. So durability is of any part of your device, right? It may be your central hardware. After that, it can be your control panel, it can be your data cloud, it can be your user interface, it can be anything. All the sections which are included into the device, that can be checked for the durability. And appropriate working for of all the system devices for longer time depends on the durability of components which we are used in it. For example, sensor, software, semiconductor devices, interconnecting network, etc. So if you are using a very cheap quality sensor, it will like work for 3-4 days, and then after that it will stop working, and we cannot afford that, right? So that is why we should use the components of higher quality, or which will give you the result for longer period of time. Software which we are using, that should be stable. After that, semiconductor devices, there are multiple of semiconductor devices, and which device you are choosing, that should be accurate and proper for that temperature range or environmental changes. Interconnecting networks, that should be also very strong. If you are not having proper interconnecting network, then your data may not be saved to the cloud, and as the data is not saving in the cloud, we cannot process that data, because in IoT, whatever data we have in a cloud, in that case only we can just process that data, right? These elements may get rusted, malfunctioning due to the aging, overheating, software corrupted due to the variation in the power supply, strain correction, corrosion, vibration, etc. So there can be a multiple of problems. Each and everything of above, like just what I mentioned, all any one of them can get damaged at any period of time because of multiple of reason. Maybe there is a aging of a device, or overheating, or software corruption, because continuously there is a like power supply failure is there. After that, strain, corrosion, vibrations, because of any one of them, any parameter of your device may get damaged, and we don't afford that. We can't afford that, because our device should be durable. If your device is durable, it will give you the results for a longer period of time, right? An IoT sensor has the durable enough in respect to the environment. It needs to be installed. Okay, so the process of installation plays an important role in the durability. Some IoT sensors are unable to withstand corrosive surroundings, extreme humidity and the temperature, like humidity sensor, pressure sensor, etc. So if you are like dealing with a sensor which is not able to sense the humidity, okay, it just sensing the temperature, and it in the humid temperature, or in the humid environment, it is not able to measure the correct temperature range. In that case, there is no use of that entire system. The basic components which we are using in the system plays an important role. If the durability of the three elements is not steady, the system starts in going out the order and does not serve its purpose. So basically, your system is not going to perform well. Hence, the durability test, as mentioned above, are carried out before installing an IoT application in actual environment. If you want to establish, or if you want to install an IoT application in your surrounding, then durability test of that application is first done, and then only your device get installed. Hence, the durability test, as mentioned above, carried out. Okay. If the durability of IoT system is less, it becomes costly for the maintenance. As the like we know, if durability is less, we have to maintain the device very often, and the cost of maintenance is again high. So that is not recommended. Whatever the device we are installing, it should pass with the higher grade in the durability test, right? Up next, we have the secure connectivity. In IoT, system big data is generated. Essentially, it is expected that the data generated from first stage should be transmitted and processed, from which purpose is required. It is required, right? So we have to process the data, whatever the data which we required. We have to process that data first, and once we have done with the processing, we can just send that data to the cloud, and we can access that data, right? Secure connectivity is like very important. While you are transmitting data from your device to the cloud, that data should not get accessed by any third party. If there is a third party which can access that data, then there might be a chances of misuse of your data, right? A secure connection is a connection that is encrypted by one or more security protocols to ensure that the security of data following between the two or more nodes only. So very basic example of this, the WhatsApp messages you are transmitting or like sending to the in another person, those are encrypted by you and the second person. No third party can read your messages. That is why the same technique can be used in this IoT. Whatever information you are sending from your device to the cloud, that should be encrypted, and that encryption method should be known to the two peoples only. One is your device hardware, and another one is your cloud person, right? Hardware, software and connectivity all need to be secured for complete IoT security. Hardware security is also important, software security is important, as well as the connectivity is also plays a very important role in the complete IoT security. Right. It means not only secure digital software data, but physical connectivity should be secure, such that no one can tamper or hack your system. So, along with hardware, software, you have to check for the physical connectivity, right? To keep your connectivity secure, you have to follow three things. First thing is that be secure by design with the proper mapping. You should be very clear with your design. You have to follow the simple instruction while doing the mapping process. Second thing is that keep it simple for the troubleshooting. So if you are making it very complex, then in case, suppose if there is any problem, it is not get troubleshooted easily, right? For troubleshooting purpose, we have to keep it very simple. Third thing is that follow the standard for the all protocols in the connectivity. You have to follow all the protocols which are given in the standard data sheet, right? With IoT connectivity, the data collected is valuable and could be used to compromise the business regarding to the IoT application vendor. So basically the data is very sensitive thing, and we cannot afford the losing of your data, or like misuse of your data. Hence the system that supports that data is highly valuable. Therefore, it should not be exposed by choosing connectivity without robust security. So security should not be robust. It should be very high security, right? Up next, we have a secure data storage. Now, IoT is driving real-time analysis at the network's edge. Now we know IoT is a real-time system. Okay, edge storage manages the data captured and provide the compute capabilities that aggregate and analyze the data in the real time to deliver the immediate and actionable insights at the device level. So basically, who is going to handle all the data? The edge storage manager, right? IoT data is mostly unstructured and so can easily be stored in a public cloud infrastructure. So you can just easily store your data in a cloud which is public, right? Data storage security involves protecting storage resources. So wherever you are going to store your data, the data should be get a proper security, right? The the data stored both on premises in an external and in an external data centers like cloud form. It is to be protected from accidental or deliberate damages or destruction from the unauthorized user and uses. So if you're storing your data in a public premises, or you can just store the data in a data centers like CloudForm, it should be protected from the accidental as well as deliberate damages. Damage can be of two types. First one is your accidental damage, second one is your deliberate damage, or the destruction from the unauthorized users. Right. The most secure way to store the data is the way that works best for them and keeps their mirror storage apart from the originals. So basically, you can store data with the help in the manner that it can keep their mirror storage apart from storing a original data. Instead of keeping original data, you can just store the mirror image of your data. One option that is used is to take backup of your data to an external hard drive regularly. So you cannot like 100% believe on your cloud storage. You have to keep backup of your data on the hard drive regularly. The cloud has various advantages over on premises storage for the storing of IoT information. So basically, there are multiple advantages storing data over a cloud. But along with that, security, if the security is important to you, then you can just store, or you can just have backup regularly on your hard drive. But there are worry with using the cloud for IoT data storage. For secure data storage, since the exchange of information over the cloud, IoT devices utilizes Wi-Fi technology. So if you want to import your data to the cloud, or if you want to import data from cloud to the device, you need the device using a wireless fidelity technology. So there is a fear to lose or delay in the storage exchange of data. So for troubleshooting and enhancing IoT application backup, data storage is very important. Hence, it is also a type of data storage of concern. So basically, what I want to tell you is the storing your data to the cloud is okay. But along with that, you should provide a proper security. If you're not having 100% security to your data, you can just regularly back up your data on a hard drive. Right. After that, next point is your data volume. How much big data you can store to the cloud. That is data volume. The data volume is the type of problem present in IoT based cloud computing. So it is like one of the biggest problem which we have in IoT technology. The IoT device density is being increased every day in the turn. The generation of data is growing faster. It is named as big data. Now what is big data? Initially, see, if you capture a image in a 2 megapixel camera, then the storage or occupy by that image is very less. But if you capture the same image in a 46 megapixel camera or like 16 megapixel camera, the storage acquire or occupy by that image is very large. So day by day the storage is increasing, and we can just call that data as a big data, right? There are various reasons for this large generated data. Like first reason is data stored in a encrypted form or hard to analyze. If the data is stored in a encrypted format, then it is very hard to read that data, or it is very hard to analyze that data. The second reason is data coming from the IoT devices are always in a raw format and difficult to store. If you have a data in a raw format, it is very difficult to store that data. If you process that data already, then processed data is very easy to store. The density of IoT devices is increasing each day, and in the turn, the volume of generated data is growing very fast. So, the density of IoT devices is increasing each day, we know, correct? And in the turn, what is going to happen? The volume of generated data is also growing very fast. So, if IoT device density is decreased, in turn, the volume of generated data is also decreased very fast. So, basically, what we have to do, we have to decrease the density of IoT device so that we can decrease the of density or volume of the data. Right. IoT data is measured in zettabytes. Zettabyte is very big unit. We have like a known megabyte or gigabyte. We are like limited to this only. But zettabyte is very large unit. It is equal to the 1 trillion of gigabyte. We know the gigabyte. 1 trillion of that is your zettabyte. So we can just imagine how big is that. And that much amount of data is used in a IoT. So it is estimated that by the end of 2025, the IoT will generate more than thousands of zettabytes per year in a data. So currently we are like generating 100 zettabytes of data per year, but as we are crossing the 2025, the data increased will be 100 zettabytes, and that is a very huge amount of data. Okay, so this is what is the biggest problem we have in our IoT application. The last problem which we had deal with the IoT is the scalability. What is scalability? It is the measure of a system ability to increase or decrease the performance and cost in response to the change in application and system processing demand. So basically, what we are like dealing in the scalability, scalability is what? It is the ability of a device to increase or decrease the performance. Okay, and cost. Along with the performance, it have to increase and decrease the cost also. So, for example, I'll tell the very basic example. We have come across the smartwatches, right? In smartwatch, if we have all the applications which we have in a mobile phone, the cost of that smartwatch is very high. Okay, but we have second smartwatch in which we just have a few applications. For example, we can just see how many number of steps we have walked in a since morning. After that, what is the heartbeat rate and time and call. Some basic features we have in a second smartwatch. So the thing is that in the both the cases we have smartwatches, but the service provided by them is different, and according to the service the cost is different. In the first smartwatch I am getting all the applications, that is why its cost is very high. In the second application I'm getting very in the second case I'm getting very less amount of application, that is why the cost of second smartwatch is less. The same thing it goes with the IoT. If your IoT is able to perform limited operations, then the cost of entire system is low, as well as performance is also low. And the second thing, if the IoT system is able to do the multiple of tasks, then the cost of that system is also high. Scalability is the key factor for handling the rapid growth of the IoT. Whatever the rapid growth which is happening in the sector of IoT, that is very rapid, and that is why we can just use this scalability as a key factor. This means that IoT application must have ability to support an increasing number of connected devices, users, application features, as well as analytics capabilities without any degradation in the quality of your service. Right. So without degrading the quality, we can just provide multiple of applications to the user. In the business concept, due to the enhancement in the technology, it is very much needed for every IoT developer to keep attention in the scalability of their products. So if the scalability is very high of your device, then people are going to show interest in your device. And that is what is the business perspective. Scalable does not always mean that expansion is free, but it is related to both hardware as well as software. Also, as the IoT system is expanded for the applications, they need to be streamlined in the maintain streamlined to maintain and troubleshoot them. So basically, as we are expanding IoT devices, we should be able to maintain and troubleshoot them. There must be monitoring on the devices. Monitoring is again very important process. As the number of devices are increased, the issue created regarding the faculty hardware and the warning sign be given to the system developer. So as the number of devices are increased, the issue related to the devices are also going to increase, as well as like the issue can be of hardware as well as software. So in that case, you are going to have faculty hardware as well as the warning sign to be given to the system developer. Okay, so this is what for all now. In the next lecture, we will discuss the case studies.